If I offered you $1,000 right now to eat a perfectly fresh, completely raw steak, would you actually do it? If it were my wife, she would definitely pay me extra cash just to go buy raw salmon instead of watching me do something so incredibly stupid. But think about the absolute absurdity of human behavior. Tonight, you might comfortably order sushi at a high-end restaurant. You will stare at that raw tuna, sliced wonderfully thin, and you will eat that raw flesh without a single blink. Yet put a fresh, unmarinated slab of beef right in front of you, and your stomach violently flips. Your brain screams, "No!" Why does one meal feel completely normal, while the other feels aggressively dangerous? Most people assume it is just about taste or cultural tradition. They are completely wrong. The real answer is buried deep inside your own biology, locked in a terrifying war against invisible killers you cannot even see. To anyone broke enough to accept this $1,000 challenge, watch this video first. Discover the horrifying truth, then you can make your final choice. Let's start with the obvious question. Isn't a raw steak just as biologically safe as a fresh cut of oceanic fish? Not even close. The secret lies in a microscopic phenomenon scientists call host specificity. Picture a cow grazing peacefully in a sunlit field. Its massive, warm-blooded body is a perfect incubator. Its blood runs close to human temperatures, almost exactly matching your own internal environment. Now, picture a fish drifting through the freezing depths of the ocean. It is utterly cold-blooded, living in water barely above freezing. Here is the terrifyingly fascinating part. Parasites and bacteria are incredibly picky invaders. They do not just survive anywhere. They evolve over millions of years to thrive inside a very specific body temperature. When a pathogen engineered for a mammalian gut enters your stomach, it does not panic. It thrives instantly. Your internal heat feels exactly like home, allowing these invisible killers to multiply with ruthless efficiency. But when a pathogen adapted to the ocean hits your 98-degree bloodstream, it faces a thermal apocalypse. It is not built for that extreme heat. It boils. It breaks down. It dies. But temperature is only the first line of defense. The second is about how closely related you are to your dinner. You share vastly more biology with a cow or a pig than you ever will with a tuna. Mammalian diseases are master locksmiths engineered by evolution to jump between mammals smoothly. They act like a skeleton key that perfectly fits a very similar genetic lock. A fish is so genetically distant from you that its pathogens cannot unlock your cellular doors. This vulnerability is why one of history's deadliest meat pathogens, Trichinella spiralis, exclusively targets pigs and humans. It ignores fish. The lock clicks, the door opens. You lose. Now transport your mind back 40,000 years into the brutal past. Imagine you're an early human who has just slaughtered a wild boar. You're starving. The fresh kill is right there in front of you. Do you tear into the raw flesh immediately, or do you take the agonizing time to build a fire? Every single ancestor who blindly ate that unheated meat rolled the dice with invisible killers hiding inside the muscle. Often, pathogens like Trichinella spiralis struck them down. They paid the ultimate price for ignoring the laws of biology. But every single human who chose fire, who patiently cooked that food, survived longer. They had more children. They passed on the instinct. This means that when you look at a raw steak today, and your stomach violently churns, that reaction is not a random modern squeamishness. It is an ancient risk memory written directly into your senses. Your disgust is quite literally an inherited memory from generations of ancestors who almost did not survive figuring this out. They learned the hard way that certain animals lack the safe biological distance required to be consumed safely without extreme heat. They recognized that the warm-blooded beasts they hunted were just too similar to themselves, making them inherently dangerous. Therefore, they built you differently. They programmed your nervous system to feel the threat. Before you ever intellectually understood why, You avoid it because your DNA remembers the slaughter. But this does not mean the ocean is sterile. Fish do harbor their own threats. They carry real parasites. The most notorious among them are Anisakis worms. They live coiled tight inside the muscle, waiting in the dark. But here is the magnificent, ironic twist of our biology. These Anisakis worms are exclusively adapted to survive inside cold-blooded hosts, like whales and other sea creatures. They are fundamentally incompatible with human anatomy. When you consume them inside a delicate slice of raw salmon or raw tuna, the invasion spectacularly fails. The worm cannot complete its life cycle. Your internal heat is an absolute inferno. Your body is the wrong environment. It is a dead end. The parasite dies. Because of this immense biological distance, the threat operates on completely different rules. To make sushi completely harmless, modern science introduced a specialized weapon, freezing fish. By artificially shattering the specific body temperature that marine pathogens require, we annihilate the threat before it begins. This rigorous process is the foundation behind modern sushi-grade certifications. But do not be foolish enough to think this logic applies to mammalian meat. Freezing barely slows down the true terrors hiding inside that raw flesh, such as E. coli and Salmonella. These specific bacteria are incredibly resilient to cold. You cannot just freeze a steak and assume it is safe. If you eat it, they will wake up, invade your bloodstream, and remain intensely dangerous. You are safely genetically distant from sea creatures, but terrifyingly close to the beasts on land. How did humans figure this out? Centuries ago, Japanese fishermen intuitively mastered this biology through relentless trial and error. Long before modern science established sushi-grade requirements or the practice of freezing fish, they made a critical observation. Through brutal trial and error, they noticed a strict pattern. A wild boar could easily kill you. However, cold, deep-water catches almost never did. By eating it immediately, they built the foundation of sashimi. It completely bypassed the ancient risk memory that strictly warned against terrestrial meat. This expanding culture of sashimi and sushi effectively sidestepped the heat-loving threats of E. coli and Salmonella. Therefore, when you sit down today to enjoy a delicate plate of raw salmon or raw tuna, your inherited memory does not scream in terror. It recognizes safety. So, let us return to the original question. If I placed $1,000 on the table for you to consume an uncooked bovine muscle, would you still ignore thousands of years of evolutionary warnings? You now know the terrifying truth. Keep your money in your pocket. Hit the subscribe button to uncover more hidden survival instincts. And never look at your dinner plate the same way again.